Ulakut, Uvanga Nikki Komaksiutiksak, President and CEO of Pauktuutit Inuit Women of Canada. First, I would like to acknowledge we are situated on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe peoples. Today, we are here as members of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities from across Turtle Island and Inuit Nunanga. I am honored to be standing here beside Les Femmes Michif Otipemisiwak, Two Spirits in Motion, and the Ontario Native Women's Association. We are also joined today by Shayla Roxburgh, Manager of Violence and Abuse Prevention and Justice Policy at Pauktuutit Inuit Women of Canada. Today is Red Dress Day, a day of awareness for peoples across the country to acknowledge the violence, injustice, and ongoing genocide perpetrated against First Nations, Métis, Inuit women, girls, Two-Spirit, and gender-diverse peoples. We are here to announce our partnership and the creation of a data project collecting the experiences of MMIWG2S+. This project aims to raise public awareness about the severity of the crisis and advance advocacy efforts to pressure the Government of Canada to immediately implement all 231 calls for justice. Prioritizing privacy and data sovereignty, we are joined in this work by trusted data and research partners CDCI and Wampum Records, who previously worked together to build the online data repository for the National Centre for the Truth and Reconciliation. In 2019, the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls laid out 231 calls for justice, a comprehensive, clear, and necessary roadmap to end this crisis. Nearly 6 years later, the Government of Canada has only implemented 2 of the 231 calls for justice. The rates of violence, disappearance, and murders remain unchanged. Canada adopted the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and made it law with the UNDRIP Act in 2021. It committed to ending violence and discrimination, yet those commitments have not yet been honored. Ending this genocide requires more than empty promises. We must work to put an end to the violent systems that continue to shape that crisis. First Nations, Métis, and Inuit women, girls, Two-Spirit, and gender-diverse peoples have faced discrimination, domination, control, and marginalization for far too long. By giving a voice to missing and murdered First Nations, Métis, and Inuit women, girls, Two-Spirit, and gender-diverse peoples, we are empowered to fight back against the marginalization of this crisis. Together, we will continue to hold the Government of Canada accountable until it commits to ending this genocide. I would like to end by saying this. As we continue our work and engage with First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities, we are also looking for more partners to join us. For more information about this project and getting involved, please visit pauktuutit.ca/MMIWG2S/database. Remember, as more partners join us, the scope of the data collection will grow, helping us create necessary systemic and social changes. I would like to welcome Les Femmes Michif Otipemisiwak, Director of MMIWG2S+ Initiatives, Kristen Gilchrist as our next speaker. Kuyanamit matna nakumit.
Tanse, I'm honored to be here today as a partner in this important project. This data collection project is incredibly vital. Les Femmes Michif Otipemisiwak joins this partnership in solidarity with those affected by this crisis across Turtle Island and Inuit Nunanga. We are here for Métis women, girls, Two-Spirit, and gender-diverse people who continue to face ongoing genocide. And as partners, we're deeply committed to providing research data to support this project. Police forces, child welfare systems, and social services and community organizations lack an understanding of their role in systemic violence, resulting in unreliable and inaccurate missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, Two-Spirit, and gender diverse peoples plus data. At this stage in our collaboration, we are all focusing on gathering data from scattered sources to create a modern, comprehensive picture of this crisis. By taking a trauma-informed approach, we're putting safety, privacy, and dignity at the forefront of our partnership. We want to make it very clear the identity and privacy of those who are affected will be protected as we carry out this research. Our goal is to drive data-informed social and policy change and address systemic factors impacting First Nation, Métis, Inuit women, girls, Two-Spirit, and gender diverse peoples. I'd like to take this opportunity to encourage people across Canada to attend Red Dress Day vigils and events in your communities, including joining the Ottawa Aboriginal Coalition at Ottawa City Hall today and the Kokums of Sisters in Spirit Vigil on Parliament Hill. Red Dress Day is a day to remember stolen grandmothers, mothers, sisters, relatives, and friends. Missing and murdered First Nation, Métis, and Inuit women, girls, Two-Spirit, and gender diverse people have hopes, dreams, and lives, and we will not forget them. Learn more and demand more. It's time to end this genocide. I would like to welcome Two-Spirits in Motion Society National Research Coordinator, Imriel Bissnette, as our next speaker. Marcy.
My name is Imriel Bissnette. My pronouns are ze, they, and negum, and I'm the National Research Coordinator for Two-Spirits in Motion Society. Two-Spirits in Motion Society is here today to speak for Two-Spirit and gender diverse communities, communities that are misunderstood and critically under and misrepresented within national statistics. As Two-Spirit and gender diverse peoples, we face rates of discrimination, violence, and murder far exceeding that of cisgender communities. Police forces, child welfare, and social services are not designed to protect Two-Spirit and gender diverse individuals. These systems are a large contributor to why our communities are faced with violence and murder. The MMIWG2S plus data collected for this project is important because there is currently no national collection of quantitative or qualitative data on Two-Spirit people. We will utilize specific information, such as locations of where individuals have gone missing, to give us a clearer, fuller picture of contributing factors such as the migration patterns of members of our communities who have been marginalized and are looking for belonging, a path to living as their true selves, and a safe place to do so. This will provide us with a more robust picture of who individuals are, the lives they lived, and adversities they have faced before becoming a missing or murdered individual. We hope these stories will help non-Indigenous peoples understand who Two-Spirit and gender diverse peoples are, the lives we lead, the families we love, and the safety we deserve. Walalin. I'd like to welcome Ontario Native Women's Association CEO Cora McGuire-Cyrette to speak.
Abaju wabaganique Indigenous makwana dodem bingweni ashi anishnabek ndonjiba. First, I want to acknowledge all the brave Indigenous women that have spoken before me, my colleagues and my friends here today, as well as the reason why we're actually able to speak about this violence today. It's because of the bravery of the survivors that have come before us to be able to do this work for those that are going to come after us. And I also wanted to acknowledge that, as a survivor of violence and a family member, today is one of these days that it can be a trigger for us. A trigger for survivors like myself and many other of my fellow survivors and Indigenous sisters who have moved to tell their story. And these are the stories that is going to be on this project. And these stories, to be able to quantify them into systemic change. A story that many do not want to hear. A trigger for my family and the many other families today. However, we're hoping that this triggers you, the public, it triggers other partners to join us. Days like today, we hope that it'll trigger systemic change within the systems that continue to harm us. Today, we want change to be able to treat us as Indigenous women, as humans. Today, we want people to put themselves in our footsteps. We want them to walk this journey with us, not for us, but alongside us. Today, we want Indigenous women to have their leadership reclaimed and to be empowered once again. Today, we want a trigger for change, and that is what this project is about. And so with that, I am pleased and honored on behalf of the Ontario Native Women's Association to join these amazing leaders who are bravely walking this path, who are trailblazing for the generations that are going to come after us. And this is what we want and demand is action, and all of the action that's happening all across Canada today. So for that, I want to say Chimigwich to each and every one of you for joining us here today, and we will now take questions.
I'll go first. Fraser from AP10 National News. Could you, you sort of outlined it a bit during the press conference, but can you just give me an idea of sort of the specific types of data you're going to be collecting, and then how much money will it cost to do this?
Thanks for your question. So we're collecting publicly available and publicly accessible data. So we're essentially accessing available sources, like Kristen said, that are just really scattered and in various places. And sometimes people aren't even aware that that information is available. And we're bringing it together in one location. The funding that we've received has been really generous from CERNAC and ISK, and we're really grateful having been able to put together a number of funding streams to fund this project over the past year and the coming year. We're really looking forward to the project building thereafter. But again, you know, even among the calls for justice are calls for funding, and that means to communities, that means for resources, services, infrastructure, everything. We need to see more of that to make sure that projects like this can continue.
Okay, and before I forget, what's your name and organization?
I'm Shayla Roxburgh. I work with Pauktuutit, Inuit Women of Canada.
Okay, and maybe just as a follow-up to, there's the federal government has started a process of a red dress alert system before prorogation, all that stuff. I don't know where it's at, but would this be something that would work in collaboration with that, maybe, or?
So our database is looking at time scale from shortly before the inquiry to as current as possible. One of the challenges in data collection is that documents that are immediate aren't always available already in archives and documentation repositories. So we're a little out of time for something as immediate and as important and day to day as the red dress alert. But we're happy to open those conversations and support those initiatives, and also Aboriginal Alert, which is also a very important resource in any way that we can. Thanks.
You sort of outlined it, but how do you, what do you hope this, I have some ideas, but what do you hope this people can get out that helps them move forward, I guess, in a number of ways out of having a database like this?
You can do it. I think when you're looking at data tells a policy story and for policy change. And so we know, like, the systems that we're all talking about, I believe some of my colleagues here mentioned it today, for instance, child welfare. You're looking at police and justice systems, and to be able to unpack the data, to be able to see where change needs to happen. And so that's really what a lot of the database is looking at, is for that systemic change, because Indigenous women are not safe when they're accessing services and systems. When you're looking at the healthcare system, the justice system, the policing system, sometimes people like to think that it's one bad person who did one bad thing, when it's not. When you look at it, it was a systemic failure. And so everybody has a responsibility to correct that systemic issue. And so the data story is going to really showcase where there is policies that are actually implemented that are discriminating and perpetuating the violence that Indigenous women continue to face.
We will now take questions from journalists on Zoom. If you have a question, please use the raise hand function. Nous allons maintenant prendre des questions des journalistes en ligne sur Zoom. Si vous avez une question, s'il vous plaît, utilisez la fonction main levée. Thank you. This concludes the press conference. Merci, c'est ce qui conclut cette conférence de presse.